here with Dan Phillips, local makeup artist extraordinaire, here in the Motor City with MotorCityGeek. Number one question: while a lot of people, make it from Detroit, a lot of people leave. Why did you decide to stay home?
Well, the biggest reason is I'm born and raised in Detroit. I was an inner city kid, and I have family here. My roots are here, and I really thought that if I did the proper things I needed to do, as far as the skill set wise, I would be able to be a viable entity here in Michigan. So not only do I do the monster stuff, I do the straight makeups and beauty stuff also. So we do everything from the auto show to brides to zombies. So a little bit of everything.
No, that's actually, I don't think a lot of people even know that outside of the monsters and the makeup, The Hobbit, Walking Dead, things like that. A lot of people don't know what DP Studios touches into. Local music happens to be another one. A local band called Insane Clown Posse. We've heard you've done music, makeup for them before.
Yes.
Is that different than the movie industry? How does that compare?
Yeah, actually, the Insane Clown Posse video was a lot of fun. We did two of their videos, and the first one was a real big makeup heavy video. We did a creepy circus type parade where we had all these crazy makeups, and that was a lot of fun. But as far as difference, the only thing is it's really quick. They do these videos in 1 to 2 days, and so it's balls to the wall for 2 days straight.
Okay.
But besides that, it was a great time. Those guys are great.
Most people obviously have come to know The Hobbit. That's been like the big A-list one that everyone's heard. And one of the things that's been different about The Hobbit than the rest of a lot of movies recently is the 48 frames per second. It's a little bit. A lot of people think it's more real. Some people have other issues with it. But that aside, does that change the way you do makeup in a movie?
No, actually, when we did Hobbit, the only thing that really changed for us was the coloration of the cameras. Red saturated, really hardcore. So when we did some of the outside stuff on Hobbit, the makeups were we had to put so much red in the makeups. If you would have seen the actor in real life, you would have thought he looked like a tomato. But then you get him on these high def cameras that they had over there. They look great.
Yeah.
So it was more about the coloration, not so much the way we applied the makeups or anything like that. It was just about the coloring.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah. Obviously, doing makeup, you have to have 1,000 different stories about 1,000 different weird and wacky experiences. But out of all of those, which would you say was the most difficult makeup job to do? Which one sticks out in your mind?
Wow, that's a hard question. I don't know. Probably. I don't know if it was difficult, because I don't think anything that you love doing is difficult. But the most challenging, I would say, would probably be the Hobbit. The doing Nori every day was quite the challenge, just because of the color changing. The makeup's always changing colors because of the cameras and stuff. So that was probably the hardest thing to overcome.
Okay, and then I guess the sister question to that one: what would be your single favorite memory of a character doing? One that was
my favorite, I can tell you, I have a lot of great memories of different characters, but I can tell you the favorite experience would probably be working on Oz. Doing Oz the Great Powerful in Michigan. I worked with K&B, Howard Berger, and their team out in LA, and it was a dream come true. I worked around, there was Academy Awards all the way around me when I was working on that show. I worked right next to the guy who painted E.T., so there was the
no pressure.
yeah, it was quite the challenge, but by the grace of God, my skill set was where it needed to be. I rose to the occasion, and it was a great experience. Really
absolutely, and we've seen a ton of things. And I guess that kind of goes with it too. You said your skill set made it. When did you have that? Was there a dawning moment where you were on set at any one shoot where you realized you'd made it in the industry? You were a name.
Oh, I don't know about a name, but there definitely was those moments of clarity, I call them. Standing on the set for the first day on Hobbit was pretty overwhelming. Huge film. Having an interview with Howard Berger from K&B and him hiring me on the spot based on my work, that was huge in my world. Yeah.
All right, that's always good to hear. So then, coming from inner city Detroit, what inspires you to get into this field?
I've always, as a kid, always had a love for horror films and monster films, and I was a big fan of the Universal monsters, and a big fan of that whole, Hammer horror films with Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, all that stuff. We used to go driving on 8 Mile, and watch old Italian splatter films, you know, and the movies never scared me. They never freaked me out. I always just wondered, how do they do that? How did they, you know, do that bullet in the head effect, you know? So I'd go home and steal my mom's makeup and try to figure it out, you know, on myself. And as the years progressed, I just started getting more and more into it. So.
All right, fair enough. Then overall, I mean, you obviously come from the Motor City. You know it. You said you're an inner-city kid. Everyone's got their favorite joint, their favorite comic shop, their favorite old restaurant. Do you have one that like you'd like to throw a shout out to or tell everyone, you know, you might not have seen this in the Motor City, you need to try it?
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? I'm kind of old, so a lot of the stuff that I went to as a kid ain't there no more.
That's true.
You know, but you know, Lafayette, man, go down to have a coney at Lafayette, go see the ball game. You know, down that Corktown, and it's getting to be so much better now. It's so much. You know, people that listen to your podcast from out of state, they come into Michigan. You know, go downtown, go to Corktown, go to Newtown, go to those areas down there, and experience that revitalization that's happening right now, because it's incredible down there now.
All right, so then that brings up the other dramatic question. You mentioned Lafayette. So you're Lafayette over American?
Absolutely, yes. Lafayette.
Glad to hear it.
Yes.
All right, I can't think of many other questions to get with you. Outside of...
You want me to ask you a question?
Absolutely, sure.
What got you into this?
Into this? In reality, we were, you know, we're sitting around looking at the Motor City, and there are so many other geeks and things like that in the neighborhood, and we're divided. There's comic book geeks, there's tabletop geeks, there's LARPers, there's every which thing, but there's no like universal site to go to. And that's our goal with MotorCityGeek, is to give you a website that you can go to, you know, click on a map. I want to see the comic shops, I want to see the game stores, I want to see local music. Anything you could have a passion about in Metro Detroit, here it is.
So am I considered now a universal geek because I've done this?
I would say you're a Motor City geek.
Motor City geek. Okay, fair enough.
Willing to admit that? You say you're a Motor City geek?
Motor City geek all day long. Yeah.
And I think that'll do it. I'm Robbie Roto with Motor City Geek. This is Dan Phillips, signing off.